What's up, guys? Your boy, 20K13. Gonna talk about 10 potential new feuds after WWE Night of Champions 2015. Night of Champions was a rather messy pay-per-view, one which had already divided opinion and generated serious debate. However, love it or hate it, it has set the scene for a number of potential new feuds. The ending of the show alone saw Kane and Sami both forcibly break back into the main event scene, while other few were particularly hinted at up and down the card. Some impending matches are inevitable, such as Ryback searching a rematch with new Intercontinental Champion Kevin Owens and Nikki Bella similarly likely shot at new Diva Champion Charlotte. However, beyond these initial scuffles, many of which should be dealt with within the next week or two, uncertainty reigns. Here are 10 potential new avenues the WWE could realistically explore in the wake of Night of Champions, including a few old faces. Number 10. Seth Rollins vs. Kane. Starting off with the most logical feud to surely emerge from Night of Champions, Kane post-match assault of Seth Rollins surely indicates a continuation of the pair rivalry. Until Sunday night, the Big Red Machine hadn't been seen since Rollins attacked his already injured ankle on a July edition of Raw, presumably the reason for his beatdown of the WWE Champion. Unfortunately, a Rollins-Kane feud isn't likely to set the world on fire and must be seen as a step back regardless of how hopefully brief it is. Don't be surprised to see the pair face off at October Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, an attempt by the WWE to sneak a substandard match onto the card beneath Lesnar and Undertaker. Number 9. Kevin Owens vs. Sami Zayn. Owens' roller victory over Ryback will surely lead to a rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. But should they get it out of the way on an upcoming episode of Raw or SmackDown? This could leave the way clear for a far more intriguing title feud. Sami Zayn, the historical rival of Owens throughout his Indies and NXT career, is scheduled to return from injury soon, and the WWE will be foolish to ignore the undeniable chemistry shared by the pair. Zayn wouldn't need much of a reason to challenge Owens, having suffered numerous vicious beatdowns at the hands of the new Intercontinental Champ. A good thing to also reference would be the manner Owens' debut on the main roster, coming in straight away to challenge for John Cena's U.S. Championship. Number 8. Charlotte vs. Sasha Banks. Once Nikki Bella rematch is out of the way, the natural number 1 contender is surely Sasha Banks. The boss has impressed the most out of anybody in the Diva Revolution while simultaneously waging a grueling war with Bayley over the NXT Women's Championship. Like Kane vs. Seth Rollins, this feud looks to be pretty much set in stone and was heavily alluded to at Night of Champions. While Charlotte and Nikki square off in the ring, a backstage shot showed Banks and the rest of Team Bad watching on a monitor, usually a surefire sign of an impending title shot. Number 7. Charlotte vs. Paige. An underlying theme of Charlotte's ride to title contention has been Paige's inability to pick up a win. She lost or been otherwise bested by Sasha Banks for a good few weeks now, and seemed a little subdued during Charlotte's post-match celebration at Night of Champions. A Paige heel turn seems the logical option at this stage and will give the Diva division something it badly needed for a while now, a compelling storyline. A Paige-Charlotte feud could be the most compelling thing since Trish Stratus and Mickie James' fantastic rivalry, although the mic skill of both younger ladies must be called into question. Number 6. Lana vs. Dolph Ziggler. Disappointingly, the Ziggler-Rusev storyline continued to rumble on at Night of Champions, which saw Summer Rae unwittingly cost the Bulgarian Brute the match. Although Ziggler, relentlessly flirting with Summer, will continue on Sunday with a suggestive kiss on the hand, week of long-term babyface shenanigans, a more compelling storyline will see a jealous Lana turn on her man and seek help elsewhere. Whether through a reunion with Rusev or in alliance with an existing babyface, Lana will be better away from Ziggler. The pair obviously share very little chemistry, and any number of struggling Miss Carter will benefit from the rub Lana will provide. Cesaro not up to much at the moment, is he? Number 5. Chris Jericho versus Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. Despite my very confident prediction that Ambrose, Reigns, and their mystery partner would triumph on Sunday, the Wyatt family prevailed thanks to Braun Strowman and their ineptitude of Chris Jericho. Y2J ill-advertised blind tag cost his team the match and led to an intriguing confrontation afterward. The tension between Jericho and the babyface pair is sure to continue, given the way Y2J shoulder passed Ambrose on his way out of the ring. It's unlikely that Chris will be able to take on both on his own, but could perhaps team up with another returning Attitude Era star to show the newbies how it's done. Number 4. John Cena vs. Daniel Bryan. Cena and Bryan are hardly new to feuding with one another, but a revival of the old rivalry would make sense following the former U.S. Championship win on Sunday. If Bryan is clear to return from injury, a prospect which remains as uncertain as ever, what better reintroduction than a good-natured title match with a similarly huge star? The pair work together extremely well, that much is already certain, although the idea of Bryan having to tone down his reckless in-ring style could render a return pointless. Whether this storyline is a realistic possibility or not, there is no question that Cena should bring back his open title challenges. He helped give underappreciated stars such as Neville and Cesaro a boost and should continue to do the same again now. Number 3. Seth Rollins vs. John Cena. Cena and Rollins have been at one another's throat for a while now, but there's still room for one more chapter. Technically, Rollins should have a rematch for the U.S. Championship he lost on Sunday, although it might not be surprising if he passes up on this opportunity to focus on defending his WWE Championship. Cena, however, should be as keen to step into the ring with Rollins as ever, even if it means putting his newly won title on the line. Should this feud restart, it certainly shouldn't last very long, but could be a nice opportunity to further galvanize Seth's in-ring credentials. The champ has suffered from a strange duality throughout his reign, grappling through matches despite being portrayed as an absolute ass-kicker for the majority of them. Perhaps one last match against Cena can turn this around. Number 2. Sheamus vs. Kane. Hardly the most exciting potential feud on this list, but a pretty realistic one. Sheamus and Kane are sure to butt heads at some point, even if limited to a few television appearances together. The Big Red Machine wrecked Sheamus' chance of successfully cashing in his Money in the Bank contract, and the Irishman is unlikely to let such a transgression go unpunished. Truth be told, it's hard to see how this impending clash would benefit the main event scene. A win for Sheamus would wreck Kane's momentum shortly after his big return, while giving Kane the upper hand would drag down the Money in the Bank holder even further. It's a feud neither man needs, nor can afford to lose, and is therefore sure to continue. And number 1. Attitude Era vs. current roster. An ambitious prospect, but one which could well work, especially with Survivor Series on the horizon, would be a multi-man clash between modern-day superstars and the nostalgic act of the Attitude Era. With the Dudley Boys already members of the roster, both Hardy Boys heavily rumored to return, Chris Jericho and Kane back in the picture, and Triple H at the helm, now is the perfect time for such a storyline. Even without the Hardy Boys in the picture, the WWE still had enough current personnel to run a 5-on-5 elimination match at Survivor Series. A plausible example would be Triple H, Jericho, Kane, and the Dudley Boys taking on Reigns, Ambrose, Owens, Cesaro, and Neville. Sure, such a match will require a temporary blending of alignment, but what an old-fashioned elimination match without some face-heel tension thrown into the mix. The company used to manage it annually with their old Night of Champions pay-per-view, and could surely do it so again. It will finally make Survivor Series mean something again and justify a good 2 months of dramatic build-up. Well, that is, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.